visionary, an entrepreneur, a business owner. You want to make money from your passion and create the freedom that you've dreamed of. But it's slow. The income is slow, the impact is slow, and the freedom is slow. And here's the kicker. You've actually never been busier. You're working longer than ever, burning through daylight, and your family have forgotten who you are. You're tired and frustrated and you can't even sleep well at night. The business just feels so heavy, and all you ever wanted to do was just make the money you want to make doing the things that you want to do. And that's where I come in. Hi, if we haven't met yet, my name is Dr. Storme, and I'm the host of the Business Acceleration Podcast, where we shift your business from heavy to light, time poor to time abundant, and from income lack to income growth. We're going to achieve it together with my 20 years experience as a psychologist, helping people just like you to break through their barriers. And we're going to throw in a little of the woo as well. So thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Business Acceleration Podcast. I'm so pleased that you're here. If you're somebody who is working in the health professions, maybe you're a coach, a counsellor, a social worker, a psychologist, a physio, anything like that, have you ever found yourself feeling nervous or hesitant about engaging in help-seeking behaviours for yourself? Because if you are, you're not alone. And I tell you, the reason that this has come up is because more often than not, and I can show you my feed, more often than not, I get approached by people who don't feel very comfortable sharing a concern about a business challenge or an emotional or a life challenge that they're having in a group situation. And I think because my background at the moment is, I'm in the process of moving out of psychology, but I'm still a psychologist. And so I'm in a number of groups on and offline. And when people ask me for help and I say to them, well, hey, have you gone and asked in this group? Because there's a really good bunch of people in there that would have a lot of ideas. They'd be able to support you. There's hesitation, and there's hesitation for a number of reasons. Some of those reasons have included that, the person coming and asking for help feels like they're going to be bullied if they go and ask for help in a group. Other people are in the process of becoming an emerging leader. They're well on their way to creating a real space of authority for themselves in a niche area in their business. And so for that reason, when a problem surfaces, they hesitate about going into a group, whether it's on or offline, because they worry that asking for help is going to make them seem less credible. They tend to hold beliefs that, you have to know all of the answers, or that there's an expectation that we need to know all of the answers. It's also popped up, a couple of weeks ago with another situation. A person who's not a client of mine contacted me out of the blue, and his name was Matt, and Matt was concerned around conflict of interest that he was experiencing with his work. So he wasn't quite sure how to handle that situation. And when I suggested, hey, go in, are you in this group? And he said, yes. I said, hey, just go in there and ask. There are plenty of people that can help you, And I also gave Matt some support too, but he said to me, listen, the reason that I've come to you is because I heard that you help other people, and I don't really feel comfortable because, I'm worried that if I go in there, that it's going to expose me, that I'm going to be bullied, that I'm going to be heckled, that, it's not going to be really a safe space for me to get the support that I'm really needing. And, I just wanted to come to you one-on-one for some help. So, of course, I gave him help, but it really got me thinking. And so then I started reflecting on the messages. I just scrolled back through the messages that I have on my phone because I'm on Facebook, and you get Facebook Messenger with that, or I do. And I was looking back through a lot of the messages, and it's probably about 2 or 3 a day. And then I get people just wanting like a quick answer to a question. And I started contacting those people because I hadn't asked all of them why they hadn't shared it in a group. So I started to do a bit of research, and contacted them and said, I just wanted to check in with you and follow up and make sure you're all right. And how did it go? What was the outcome after our conversation? And so did all of that. And then I said to them, can I ask you, why didn't you share this in a group? And it was really interesting. So I spoke to about 30 people and I kept an Excel spreadsheet as I was on the phone to them, and I just started making a list there. And then the list wasn't very long at all, but what was interesting was the tally. And so while this wasn't a clinical experiment or a big trial or anything like that, this is just experiential research, what I found was that most people were saying that they were worried about asking for help because they're in the process of trying to create a reputation for themselves as a leader. So they perceived that asking for help in the group was going to undermine that, make them look like they weren't credible. The other reason was that they were very worried about getting negative feedback, and they were very worried about unhelpful, unwanted comments from, colleagues in inverted commas. That was number 2. And number 3 was that they were just worried like they might look like they didn't have all of the answers. So you can already hear just from what I'm sharing with you now that, yes, there are a lot of limiting beliefs that are going on for some of these business owners and health professionals in the way that they're operating their business and in their own inclination to, engage in help-seeking behaviours. And the thing that they all had in common was a preference for coming and speaking to somebody quietly on the side, one-on-one. I thought that was really interesting as well. The other thing that was really interesting was I don't know all of these people that come and ask me for help, but more often than not, it's because I've already helped a colleague of theirs. And so then when they say to their colleague they're struggling with something, that person is then saying, hey, you should get in touch with Brooklyn. She was helpful. So it's a small community, it's word of mouth, it's reputation. And so for that reason, I don't believe that we can say the help-seeking behaviours are entirely attributable to a person's limiting beliefs. I think what happens is there's also very real concerns about the impact of help-seeking behaviours for that business owner on their business. And, no amount of counselling in the whole entire world is ever going to change that for everybody. There's always going to be some people that feel very vulnerable in a group setting, especially if that group hasn't been well moderated. And by that I mean perhaps, there have been instances where people have been bullied, or there have been negative comments or unhelpful comments or derogatory comments that have gone unmoderated by a group admin or a group owner and things like that. But the important thing to understand is that there is space for everybody and that we're not all the same. So while groups can be a great source of general information, there are also some things that we need to keep in mind when asking for help as business owners. This idea that your credibility may be undermined if you're establishing yourself as a leader in a niche area. Let's say, for example, I'll use myself as an example. Let's say I'm a business coach helping private practice owners and coaches and health and wellness practitioners up-level their business and to extend their business by creating additional revenue streams outside of their profession. Let's say I'm struggling with a little bit and I want help, and I feel like I can't go into that group and ask for help because that group is where most of my clients are probably going to be sitting, okay? And so I get it. I understand why there's a hesitation to go into some of those groups. But there are some things that you can do if you find yourself in a situation where you're needing help and not sure what to do. So number one, if you're not a group person, don't go to a group. Reach out and ask somebody one-to-one and ask them to keep your confidence. Trusting in a colleague is really a good idea, especially if that colleague is further along the journey that you're embarking on, because they'll be able to speak from their own experience. The other option you've got is talking to a mentor or a supervisor. If you feel like the challenge that you're experiencing falls outside the realms of supervision or mentoring, then what you can do is you've also got the option there of a coaching program. So maybe this is something that's a little bit longer term. You're wanting to put a process in place or a service available or create a product or something like that. There's a bigger vision. Maybe you want to engage in a coaching program with somebody. You can do that. But the types of problems I'm seeing at the moment is people coming because they're needing a quick answer to a quick question. And so they're not needing a full supervision session that goes for an hour. They're not needing a coaching program that goes for 90 days. They're not needing a group situation. They're not needing a mastermind. They're needing a hotline. They're needing someone that can be responsive in a short space of time and give them the answer or the support that they need so that they have peace of mind. Do you know how many business owners struggle with this? They have so much trouble, they sweat over it. They can't sleep because they're stressed about going to work the next day and having to deal with whatever the challenge is. They're worried about losing face when they ask for help. They're worried about what if there isn't an answer. They're worried about looking like a fool or embarrassing themselves when they ask for help and maybe nobody can help, or they just get, no response. It's crickets. And they can't focus when they do go to work because they're so distracted thinking about how they're going to solve the challenge or deal with this particular problem. So what I've been able to do is put together something that hopefully is going to resolve that for people. And I'll put a link to the website and you can go and check it out for yourself. But basically it's a service where you're going to be able to get those short bursts of help when you need them without having to worry about all of those other variables. And the whole goal of it is to make sure you've got peace of mind. The way that it works is if it's a subscription service, and then if you've got an issue, a challenge, a question that you need an answer to, anything like that, you get a Zoom link, you book an appointment, you get a Zoom link, we have a Zoom, we get it sorted out, and then you get a follow-up summarising like the key points and the action steps and what we're going to do from there. So you've got that support. It also counts towards CPD if it's included in your professional development plan. It can also be tax deduction, of course. It's a business expense. So in some ways of thinking about it, it's not even going to cost you anything to do it, but it's going to give you that peace of mind. And I think that that's absolutely worth it. Anyway, as you've heard, there are lots of different ways that you can address problems in your business, even though you're an emerging leader, even though you're becoming an authority in your field, even though you're niching into a particular area where you want to become known, where you want to be the go-to person. And it doesn't have to mean that you're going to expose yourself, be overly vulnerable, lose face, lose sleep, become anxious, all of those sorts of things. There's help here now. If you're interested in being a guest on the podcast as well, I'll pop the link for that in the show notes. We're about to start recording the summer season, the January, February season, and I've got about 15 people that have registered their interest. So if you would like to contribute and be a guest on the podcast, let's have a chat about that and see what that might look like. This podcast is really around helping people and business owners learn how to create things in their business, learn how to solve a problem, learn how to overcome a challenge. And of course, most of the time, not today, but most of the time, these podcasts do have a little bit of a twist, in that we're applying some kind of contextual understanding. All of these podcasts are transformational as well. We want to give people opportunities to experience growth as a result of listening to them. So that's what I would like you to think about too. If you want to be a guest, let's think about what you can offer a listener to help them grow, to help them have a transformation. You also will be advertised on the podcast and all your details will be in the show notes, and we're putting together a podcast website. So, of course, all your details will go on there and they'll stay on there for the life of the website. So people will always be able to contact you. In the past, being a guest on these podcasts has resulted in increased exposure and visibility for clients or interviewees, but also it gives you more reach, plus it can result in conversions. You know, there's a higher proportion of conversions in clients enrolling or signing up or joining your service or buying your product from a podcast and from Facebook or Instagram. So anyway, podcast is where it's all happening. If you would like to be a guest, there'll be a link in the show notes for that. We can have a chat and get you sorted out as well. Have a great day. Please go and have a look at the website. The service is called Your Secret Angel. And if you have any questions, of course, reach out and contact me either on Facebook or shoot me an email. I'll look forward to talking to you in the next episode. Have a great Wednesday, guys. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that you enjoyed it and got a lot of value from it. Help me help others by sharing this podcast. And if you feel called to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, remember to let me know so that I can send you a very special thank you gift. Now go and build your dream business, and I will see you next time. Bye.